Welcome to Wonderland Stories. Today, we bring you the magical tale of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, a story of kindness, courage, and true friendship. Let's begin. Once upon a time, in a kingdom far away, a kind and gentle princess named Snow White lived in a grand castle. She had skin as white as snow, lips as red as a rose, and hair as black as ebony. But though she was beautiful, it was her kind heart that made her truly special. Sadly, after her mother passed away, her father, the king, married a woman who was beautiful but wicked. This new queen was envious of Snow White's beauty and had a magical mirror that she would ask every day, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" For many years, the mirror answered, "You, my queen, are the fairest of them all." This pleased the queen greatly. However, as Snow White grew older, her beauty blossomed, and one day the mirror gave a different answer. "Queen, you are fair, but Snow White is the fairest of them all." The queen's heart filled with jealousy, and she decided that Snow White must be eliminated. The wicked queen ordered her huntsman to take Snow White deep into the forest and get rid of her. But the kind-hearted huntsman could not bring himself to harm the innocent princess. Instead, he told her to run away and never return. Terrified and alone, Snow White wandered through the dark forest. Strange eyes glowed in the shadows, and eerie sounds filled the air. But the forest animals, sensing her pure heart, gathered around her to comfort and guide her. They led her to a cozy little cottage nestled among the trees. The cottage belonged to 7 dwarfs: Doc, Grumpy, Happy, Sleepy, Bashful, Sneezy, and Dopey. When they returned from their work in the mines, they found Snow White asleep across their tiny beds. She awoke, frightened, but the kind dwarfs listened to her story and offered her shelter. In return, she cooked and cleaned for them, bringing warmth and joy into their home. Over time, Snow White and the dwarfs became a family. She learned about their work in the mines, their habits, and their personalities. They, in turn, loved her dearly, always warning her to be cautious of strangers. Meanwhile, back at the castle, the queen once again asked her mirror, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" To her horror, the mirror replied, "Snow White, who lives with the 7 dwarfs, is the fairest of them all." The queen was furious. She disguised herself as an old peddler woman and set off to find Snow White. Before the poisoned apple, the queen made 2 attempts to harm Snow White. First, she disguised herself as an old woman selling colorful silk laces. Snow White, charmed by the beautiful laces, let the old woman lace her corset tightly. The queen pulled the laces so hard that Snow White fainted. Luckily, the dwarfs returned just in time and cut the laces, saving her. The second attempt involved a poisoned comb. Disguised once more, the queen offered a dazzling comb, claiming it would make Snow White's hair shine like the stars. The moment Snow White placed it in her hair, she collapsed. Again, the dwarfs arrived in time, removing the comb and reviving her. Determined, the queen finally prepared a deadly poisoned apple. This time, when she arrived at the cottage, Snow White hesitated, but seeing the old woman eat half the apple herself, she trusted her. Taking a bite, she fell into a deep, cursed slumber. When the dwarfs returned home, they were heartbroken to find Snow White unconscious. No matter what they tried, she would not wake up. They placed her in a glass coffin in a beautiful clearing in the forest, where the woodland creatures and the dwarfs kept watch over her. One day, a prince from a neighboring kingdom rode by and saw the sleeping princess. He had heard of her kindness and beauty and had long wished to meet her. Stricken by sorrow, he leaned down and placed a gentle kiss upon her lips. At that very moment, the spell was broken. Snow White's eyes fluttered open, and she awoke to find the prince and her beloved dwarfs around her. The dwarfs rejoiced, and the prince asked Snow White to return to his kingdom and become his queen. Snow White bid a tearful but joyful farewell to the dwarfs, promising she would never forget them. With love and happiness in her heart, she rode off with the prince to begin her new life. As for the wicked queen, when she asked her mirror once more, it told her that Snow White lived and was the fairest of them all. Enraged, she lost control of her magic and vanished, never to be seen again. Snow White and the prince ruled their kingdom with kindness, ensuring that everyone in their land was happy and safe. She never forgot the 7 dwarfs, inviting them to her castle for grand feasts and celebrations. Each year, she visited the little cottage in the forest, remembering the kindness they had shown her. The dwarfs continued their lives in the mines but always spoke of their beloved Snow White with fondness. They knew that their dear friend had found her happiness, and in their hearts, they carried the warmth of the love they had shared. And so, Snow White, the prince, and the 7 dwarfs lived happily ever after. Thank you for listening to Wonderland Stories. If you enjoyed this magical tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more wonderful stories. See you next time.